Alright guys, we got a Samsung washer here. Now the top is already off. Now the dispenser here, you're going to push back before you're able to remove the console. And you do have to remove 3 screws before you can push it back. So the front cover, which is a console, you'll have a series of screws. Once those are removed, you can get a flat blade screwdriver and just pry slowly, not a lot, and you should be able to bring it forward and lift it out. Now be mindful, you're going to have a harness that needs to be unplugged. Be gentle because they're all plastic tabs, they will break. Now the back cover, I did not show it, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to have 2 screws. Some models actually you might have 4 screws. So if you do remove 2 screws and you can't get it off, go ahead and double check. You might have 2 more screws back there. Now you're going to have a series of screws up top here. I think 4 screws, Phillips screws. I like to keep all my screws together. They're pretty much the same. Some will be different type of threads because of the plastic. So be mindful where they're going. Now we're removing this retaining spring here. Be mindful where it was. If you forget, you can also look at the bellow and you'll see the imprint of the actual spring where it embeds itself into the seal, and you will know exactly where to put it. I do apologize in advance. The clip for putting it on, I don't know what happened. So pretty straightforward though. It goes on pretty straightforward and you just get it back around. So I might include another video just putting that spring on. All right. After you're done with that, you want to go ahead and remove the door switch as well. And we're going to remove this dispenser down here. By the way, guys, before you do this, make sure you drain all the water. So use that black, remove the tip from the black hose and drain it properly. And you can get all the water out. Get some towels because you will need to dry up any water because it might get a little messy. Now we're removing the door switch screws. Don't lose those. Those are actually a little bit longer, so be mindful of that. Now at the bottom of the washer, you're going to have a series of screws. Remove those. All the screws in this machine, they're all Phillips, so you can just use one screwdriver, get them all done. All right. Again, I like to keep all my screws in order so I know exactly where they go back. Now I'm going to be removing the front cover here. Now we're down here on the neat. So you'll have 2 screws now. Do this before you remove those screws. Go ahead and disconnect all your hoses. It makes it a lot easier. Either way, it can be done. Also, make a mark so you have your line and your neutral on your wires, your pump wires. Go ahead and mark it. You will see how I do it, and you should be totally fine, but make sure you mark it. Also, I will be marking all of my clamps so that everybody fits exactly where it was before. Now the pump, you can see the pump has a slot that it goes into, and I'm showing that so you can see it. Also, that bracket came from the factory.
I think I heard it click. Did someone work on this machine before?
No.
Interesting. So your pump hold down, which is this piece, I was wondering why it was vibrating, and it's actually not even secured. Totally weird.
So then,
So,
well, from the factory, I guess.
yeah, yeah, and that's why this piece was vibrating,
So
making.
that's probably all the noise that
Yeah,
was there.
yeah. So I'll correct that. So we should be fine once we're done.
All right, so this is where we do our mark. And before you unplug anything, put a mark so that everybody is just the way it was before you touched it. Also, go ahead and mark your clamps so that you put them back in the same orientation. The reason for that, the always tension clamps, what they do, they actually put the impression of where they're at on the hose. So when you reposition them in a different orientation, it changes how tight it actually grips. So that is why it's super important that you keep them in the same position. That is why I'm showing you. It is a lot easier if you keep the pump installed before and then you do this. It was a little bit shaky, but nonetheless, it can still be done either way. That yellow pliers is a radiator pliers, and what it does is, well, you're seeing what it's doing. So they do sell others, and they do a pretty good job. It keeps excess water from coming out. Now, the washer was already empty, so I'm totally okay. I just put it on just in case there was extra water in there. So, to give some context, the wash pump or drain pump, what it does, it drains the water from your washer. Now, customers complaining that the washer wasn't fully draining the water. I got there and checked the pump twice and it drained just fine. So he ordered the pump. I told him that I would order a pump, and he said, well, he could have one ordered. I don't normally like to install customers' parts, but sometimes you make the exception and you do it. So it was a new pump, and so I installed it. Now, what I'm getting at, sometimes a pump will fail, and they prematurely fail, and they work sometimes, and then sometimes they don't. So it's very tricky. So always check for voltage, that the board is supplying voltage to the pump wires, and if that is good, then you know your pump is not working. Now, if you put your meter, I did mention that clamp or that bracket was missing a screw. I was able to put another screw in. I'm not sure what happened, probably from the factory, or it just rattled out, but it's weird that it rattled out. Nice and sturdy. So make sure you're getting proper voltage going to the wires before you replace the pump. And sometimes the pump on these Samsung, they do go, and I see them going now probably 4 or 5 years. So intermittently draining is going to be a pump issue. Always double check the screen, make sure nothing is caught in the housing, and check that. Sometimes you can reach your finger in, or just take the pump apart and check before you actually having to replace the pump. So those are some things you have to look out for on another Samsung washer. This washer here is about 4 years old, to give you some context. And I had another one. I don't think the video is posted yet. It's in the works. And that washer was 15 years old, and it had a issue with draining as well. Turned out the pump took out the board. So be mindful of that. Some appliances, the way they're designed, failure of the pump will destroy the board. So be mindful of that. So you can see we actually did our marks, and we're getting everybody lined up in the same position. That's why it's important. You can twist your clamp back to exactly where it was. So pretty much straightforward. We are going to slide this one on, and then it's just basically the reverse order. Don't forget to remove the clamp or the pliers if you do have something down there, because if not, you will not be draining. Alright guys, I'm going to jump back in. If there's anything else, I will update it. Alright, enjoy the rest of the video.